So when we're talking to customers, certainly in the last 6-7 months, one of the key areas of discussion is the whole WLR PSTN Switch Off, right? So people, I think companies have taken a while to actually come around to it. It's one of the things that probably kicked out into the long grass. But we're now in that sort of final lap, really. It dates our health. And what's interesting is we give the opportunity for clients to explore what they can do. So what they don't want to do is just simply switch copper for fibre. There's a real opportunity to look at how they work and how they communicate internally with their staff, and how they collaborate, and probably more importantly, how they actually engage with their customers.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting time because we have got generational change happening right here. This isn't going to happen again. And one of the benefits of this is that you can completely transform the way that you do business. And I think that's from a couple of different aspects. I think one of that is from how your workforce actually works together. So we know that there's a big hybrid working move at the moment. People are changing the way that they have working practices and working processes. I think the other way is actually how do you communicate with your customers? So actually having that kind of new cloud, omni-channel way of having conversations with your customers, really beginning to embed that CX element that we've probably been lacking from a previous ICN. Let's get on the phone and have a conversation with people rather than a real-time WhatsApp or chat type conversation.
I think you're right, that generational piece is now coming in, because we go back 10, 15 years, there was how many desk phones did you want? Do you want a 48 button, do you want a 7 button, etc. Then we had the Suez Canal, we had the chip shortage, we had the pandemic. Our attachment rate on plastic right now is next to nothing, because the mobile device or the desktop device drives that world. So where the PSTN Switch Off is terrifying for some organizations, looking going, how in heaven's name am I going to get my staff to move on to this? They're being forced.
Yeah.
And because we're all used to an application on a mobile, or an application on a desktop, or just IM or video, when you start overlaying all of the other features we can now get around the analytics piece and going back into historical reporting and call recordings, etc., 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 the small business owners looking at us going, everyone's already moved. Now all of a sudden I get all of this benefit that I can wrap around it. It's something that my teams are already happy using. So I think your guys' migration process probably got a hell of a lot easier thanks to all the disasters that have happened in the last 24 months.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say. And what's great for us working with yourselves and having 8x8 in the kit bag is that when we start talking to organisations about transformation and thinking about how they work, the platform lends itself perfectly to that. And you guys are obviously very strong on the XCAS piece. And the ability to sometimes bring that traditionally front of house contact center functionality into the back office, maybe give that subject matter expert access to that functionality, means that the organization starts to work a lot more efficiently, and the customer gets a better experience when they're actually engaged with that client. And that's something that we talk a lot about with our customers, and that's where A-Bike lends itself perfectly.
I think one of the things I consistently hear across the channel community when they're talking to their customers, all of a sudden that pool that you can actually hire from talent. Small businesses have always been, I have to hire within 10, 20 miles from my office, because all the telephony was always plugged in and attached to the wall. Now all of a sudden you can have someone working out of Wales if your office is in Scotland. Or we had a guy that worked out of Bosnia for 2 years because he could, right? So all of a sudden, those big benefits that blue chip companies always had for remote working and all the high-end features around digital interactions and chatbots, etc., anyone can adopt that now.
Yeah, they can. And actually, if you think about challenges within contact centers, they pretty much remain the same throughout the years, right? And agent attrition, the sort of well-being of agents, all has an impact, not only on your own workforce, but on the customer. Because at the end of the day, you think about it, a customer, if they're getting a good experience, if they're happy, they'll come back and they'll come back. And if you've got happy agents, because you've got that flexibility around, you can work pretty much anytime, anywhere, that's going to make them feel better when they're doing their jobs. And that will actually then reflect on when they're engaged with customers. So it all sort of kind of wraps in, and this, these kind of conversations can be spurred on by just talking about PSTN Switch Off.
Exactly, and this is why it's a great opportunity. And people talk about PSTN, it's this big, scary behemoth of a task, but actually it's a real opportunity for our customers. And it doesn't matter whether you're, you know, a 5-man band working out of a shed in Newark, or whether you are a big city company that's working in the heart of London. All of these experiences can be the same across whether you've got 5 employees or 5,000 employees, because we are building workforce propositions now. This has become a workforce propositions area rather than just your traditional UC or telephony portfolio.